Huge thanks to Blue Apron for sponsoring this video. What's up guys, it's Ed from TechSource and welcome to my full review of the iBuyPower Snowblind PC. The configuration I have features the new 8700K 6-core processor. We got 16 gigs of RAM from ADATA and the Gigabyte GTX 1080 Ti. My first impressions were, wow, that's actually a pretty good looking PC, despite them using the stock PSU cables. It's well lit, the cable management is on point, there's consistency with the color scheme, and the case itself looks super clean. Really, the only difference between the Snowblind and their Element is the color of the case and the side panel. They are still using a modified version of the S340 Elite, however this time you get a clean looking white and black version of the case with white LED fans. The main selling point of the Snowblind PC is the side panel, which has a built-in display. That's right guys, this isn't just a clear side panel, it actually has a transparent LCD display built in with a resolution of 1280 by 1024, and I'm going to talk more about it later in this video. The motherboard that's inside here is the Gigabyte Z370 XP SLI, which is one of their low-end boards, but it does support overclocking and support for XMP profiles up to 4000 MHz. It also comes with two M.2 slots, and a few parts of the motherboard can be lit up using their RGB Fusion software. Personally, I like the motherboard choice. It fits nicely with the rest of the build with its black and white stripes. Gigabyte was also kind enough to provide a GTX 1080 Ti with a custom white backplate. Okay, so before I jump into the benchmarks and performance, I do want to say a few things about the PC. There are things I like and there are things I don't like, and I just want to get those off my chest. The things I don't like. So first off, I'm not a fan of the RGB RAM sticks because not only are the colors not accurate or bright enough, but the entire design of the RAM stick is horrible. If you're a manufacturer out there that wants to make RGB products, please, for the love of God, and I feel like I speak for everyone when I say this, keep your main color or the base color of whatever product you're working on a neutral color. Don't go with random colors like red or pink or blue. I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of going with RGB. These ADATA XPG RAM sticks have a red base color not only on the sides, but on the top as well, which is the part that's visible in the PC. Black, white, silver, or even gray are neutral colors. Any of those colors would have been fine with those RAM sticks. Why on earth would you go with red? It just doesn't make any sense. Another thing I don't like about the PC is the fact that it came with a single 120mm fan. Now if this was a locked CPU, obviously I wouldn't have mind, but this is an 8700K that runs pretty hot once overclocked. Especially in a high-end build like this, a 120mm radiator just seems a little comical. I was expecting at least a 240mm rad in this beast, and because of this, I was only able to push the 8700K to 4.7 GHz at 1.35 volts, which is what you would get on the turbo clock anyways. If there was a beefier cooler, I would have gotten it to at least 4.9, maybe even 5 GHz if I'm lucky enough. However, this isn't really a big deal. Now before I continue guys, I do want to give a huge thanks to the sponsor, Blue Apron, for making this video possible. Blue Apron allows you to create delicious, chef-designed recipes at home, and they deliver all the farm-fresh ingredients you need right to your doorstep. The best part about this is that they send you the exact proportions you would need to create your meal, which is awesome because you won't be wasting any food near the end. Blue Apron offers a large selection of recipes and they're always adding new dishes to their menu every week. My personal favorite so far is their fried chicken and kale slaw recipe. All the ingredients are fresh and sourced from quality local suppliers and artisans, and the recipes are so easy to read, even someone like me who doesn't know how to cook can do it. Right now, the first 50 people who sign up will get $30 off their first Blue Apron order, so check it out at blueapron.com/techsource or click on the link below. There is no commitment and canceling is free, so if you don't end up liking it, you can always cancel. So these next few things are just me nitpicking, so please don't take them seriously, it's not a big deal. I'm just mentioning them for the sake of the video. First off, I noticed that there were bubbles on the screen near the bottom portion, but you can't really tell unless you look at it in the light. And finally, the cable on the fan attached to the radiator is visible. Whoever put this PC together didn't put too much thought into it, considering it's not a huge deal for most people, but I noticed it and it bothers me. I'm weird guys, I've accepted the fact. I get picky at the dumbest things possible and there's no explanation. I just feel like it's a disease that I have. Luckily, this was an easy fix. All I had to do was remove the 4 screws and rotate the fan over to hide the cable on the other side. Alright, now let's talk about the things I like about the PC. I love the case design. The black on white contrast is really nice, and the side panel opens up very easily. All I have to do is press down on these two tabs and it slides right open. I personally don't like when cases have thumb screws on the sides because it's always a hassle when I need to go in and out of my PC. The lighting in this case is fantastic, and I don't think I've ever seen something this bright before. And that's because there are 3 really bright LED strips behind the side panel that light up the inside. And it looks really good at nighttime. Of course, there is a switch in the back to turn it off if it's bothering you. I do want to point out that iBuyPower specifically built this configuration for me using the 8700K, but if you were to buy something similar on their website using the Skylake X platform instead, it's gonna cost you around $29.50. And to compare prices, I put together a list using the same exact parts in this build, and it came out to a little over $2,000. So you're basically paying an extra $900 if you were to buy the Snowblind with these specs. So what does that get you? Well, first of all, you get their 3-year warranty, which consists of 3 years of labor and 1 year of parts, should anything go wrong with the PC. And also along with that, you get a peace of mind, something you will never get building your own PC, and you guys can trust me on that one. You also save time and frustration from building your own PC or learning how to build a PC and running into problems along the way. You also get exclusive access to their Snowblind chassis, which isn't available anywhere else. Ultimately, it does come down to your decision, if all of that is worth an extra $900 on top of the original price for those parts. Okay, so let's take a look at performance. This configuration is obviously built for 4K gaming and productivity with a 6-core processor and a 1080 Ti. It just doesn't make sense playing in 1080p. I mean, if that were the case, the i3-8100 would have been the better option. As far as overclocking, I was only able to push the 8700K to 4.7 GHz at 1.3 volts using this tiny cooler, and the thermals weren't bad either. I stress tested the PC using IDA64 and the temps were in the low 80s, which is actually really good. The noise also wasn't that bad. I loaded up GTA 5 and the fan noise cranked up a bit on the GPU, which was audible, but it wasn't too distracting, especially if you have headphones on. For gaming, I was able to play over 60 FPS and 4K settings maxed out. On GTA 5, I was getting around 100 FPS in maxed out settings, no throttling or lag whatsoever, very smooth gameplay during story mode. Switching over to Destiny 2, I was easily hitting an average FPS of 84 and 4K resolution on high settings. I did join an event with several other players, and even with all that chaos that was happening, none of the frames dipped under 60 overall. Very smooth gameplay, very happy with that. And finally, for PUBG, I was hitting slightly over 60 FPS in high settings, once again in 4K resolution. I mean, this game is horribly optimized, so I didn't expect any triple digits. For editing 4K video, I was able to render out a 3-minute 4K file in exactly 14 minutes on the dot, so productivity on this thing is a beast. I was able to scrub through the timeline and the video playback was extremely smooth, maxed out in 4K resolution, so overall very smooth experience using Vegas Pro 15. The final thing I want to talk about is their side panel. So as I mentioned before, it has its own built-in display and it comes with a DVI cable which you will need to plug into the GPU and in the back of the enclosed unit that's connected to the side panel. So on this display you can set live wallpapers, which is what I've done here. There are many ways of obtaining live wallpapers for free, but I actually purchased Wallpaper Engine through the Steam store for only $3, and it actually gives you access to thousands of user-submitted wallpapers, ranging from anime all the way to abstract art. I mean, there are so many options out there, it's ridiculous, but some of my personal favorites are the abstract ink wallpapers. I think there's like 3 different ones that I really liked and I downloaded. Also, anything to do with Dragon Ball Super, I had to download those. I'm a huge fan, as you guys know. There's a bunch of different ones out there with Vegeta as well as Goku. And there's a pretty cool Matrix theme one that I found. There's also a bunch of anime dancing girls. Apparently that's very popular for some reason. There are 2 negatives that I found while using this feature. So first off, the wallpaper has to have bright colors. The darker and less transparent it is, the harder it's going to be to show up on the side panel. I mean, there's a reason why the inside of the PC is mostly white and it's also well lit, so the image on the panel can easily be seen. And the second negative is, unfortunately, it does consume additional GPU power. From what I've noticed, it's around 5 to 10% from the GPU that goes to the live wallpaper, and the number can be higher or lower depending on the resolution of the wallpaper and also how demanding it is. This also affected FPS, unfortunately. I tested GTA 5 with and without the live wallpaper enabled, and I saw an average 3 FPS difference. With that said, it's not a huge deal. I mean, you can always disable it while you're gaming if you want every single precious FPS. So my final verdict on the iBuyPower Snowblind PC. It's definitely not for everyone, especially considering the fact that you're paying almost $1,000 more than what the PC would normally cost you if you were to go out and buy the parts, minus the exclusive case. I'm not really sure how much it would cost iBuyPower to build a side panel like that, and also why they're charging such a high premium for it. And with that said, if you're not impressed with the side panel and you can live without it, then I would not recommend Snowblind, because there are so many other alternatives out there that will give you more bang for your buck. Instead, I would recommend checking out the iBuyPower Element series, considering those are more fairly priced. I feel like Snowblind is priced this high because of the display itself and because there isn't anything out there quite like it. However, if you don't mind paying the high premium and you're absolutely sold on their amazing side panel display and can't wait to have this PC next to you in your setup, then I see no reason not to buy it, especially considering that there is nothing else quite like this in the market. Keep in mind that you also get their 3-year warranty, you get peace of mind knowing that the PC is stress tested and ready to go, and should you run into any problems, customer service is a phone call away. I have to admit though, I was pretty impressed with the Snowblind. I've been playing with the display for a couple hours, finding some pretty cool wallpapers to use, and it's gonna be kind of boring to go back to my original PC after all this. I might even actually switch to this until I build my custom water-cooled build. But anyways, that wraps up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to toss a like to show your support, but if you guys didn't like it, please leave a dislike. I encourage you. Huge thanks to iBuyPower for sending this in as always, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.